See, I was gonna say I've always held to the idea that like a positive reinforcement beats a negative punishment,
Hmm.
but you still have to be enticed to put some effort in,
Yes.
because it is hard work. Like things are going to be hard work throughout life. Like you need that sort of um. It's nice sometimes to have a time limit on a project so that
Hmm.
it's like it's gotta get done. I can't just sit here procrastinating forever. Like I could, but I will be in trouble later down the line if I don't get something done. And that's one of the things I like about YouTube specifically, as opposed to like a regular job, is like if I don't work, I don't get paid.
Yeah.
So it's like there is no noping out. Like there is
There's a
no
risk
like
back there that.
it's like I've been able to get to the point where the channel's grown to the point where if I don't upload anything for a month, I still earn enough to get by. But
Mhm.
then it's like gotta knuckle down and get back to work now
Yes.
because if you don't do it, it doesn't do anything for you. Like there is a worry factor there. There is something that you have to avoid and something that you have to work to. There's a bit of structure there, and I think that's a good thing. I think and I've to tie it back to War Thunder. It's like it seems like they want to remove the punishment for screwing up, and also to balance that, lop off the top end where you're not rewarded for being exceptional. Like because that would make the noob feel like they're not, they've got to put effort in, and people want everything really quickly. People want the fun bit before the work. So I mean, it's a video game, fair enough, but at the end of the day, you still should try and put some effort into things, and especially in more serious parts of life. Like
As you're
you
saying these
can't
words, that
you
uh,
can't step past it.
what's popped into my head is generation average. Because back when I was still playing, I was crowned the average whatever, and I thought to myself, well, if I'm average at everything, I'm actually pretty good. But what you're describing is this idea that everybody gets sort of squished. This it's I don't want to say it's a communist way of looking at things, right? But everybody has equal, everybody's equally good, and but that also means everybody's equally bad, which I think is not is not where you want to be. Like you're gonna have people that are bad at the game because they've just started, or they're just plain bad, and you're gonna have people who are good at the game because either they're naturals or they've put a lot of effort into it, and it's good that way, and
Mm.
life works
And,
pretty similarly, right?
and it also gives people more room to be good at specific things. So it's not
Mhm.
like being bad at a video game is detrimental to you as a person. Like it's
Yeah.
not. If I'm like, you're a noob, you need to get good. That doesn't. I'm not calling you a bad person.
Yes.
Like there is something that you got to do here. Maybe you would have a better time if you did. Like it's not like you don't want a situation where everyone, like, no one really has to put in any effort and they'll still be at a level, and to balance that out, no one really gets rewarded for being too exceptional because then they'd be try harding. Like it gives room for people to be, I guess, different, but also to be more uh, uh, like uniquely what they've chosen to put their time in and how they can then
Mhm.
put that out to other people. Um, which I guess is the YouTuber talking, because like most people just wouldn't have that voice to communicate it with people. But no, I always said, for example, when I started making YouTube content, like I want to help people who aren't as good as me,
Mhm.
but there are also still a buttload of people who are a lot better than me. So I'm still working, and as I get better at certain things, I can then put it on to other people. And I'm a big fan of the idea that the best way to learn something is by teaching it to someone else. Like it's a very common piece of advice. Like if you want to get better at something, start having someone rely on you to teach them
Yes.
about it,
Yes. This
because
this is so
it,
true.
it it's a really useful, and it helps you phrase sort of, it helps you realize where you might have a couple of holes,
Mhm.
um and gives you something to work for, because eventually they're going to catch up to you. So
Yeah.
it's a lot of fun having room to be better at a certain thing, and for life and in general is having things you can excel at, even if you don't to begin with, even if it sucks to suck at something, but like it gives you something to work towards. That's a good thing.
Yeah. There's this hypocrisy surrounding this idea of when you're teaching somebody something or trying to, another person will observe it and say, well, but why should they listen to you when you've clearly not done all of it? You're not at the top yourself. And And I think to myself, well, if I was at the top, I probably wouldn't be teaching. That's the first thing, because you've ascended beyond something. You're not going to have the best basketball player teach somebody who's just started, because that's not his thing. He's at the top of his game. He's going to be in the ring or on the playing field or whatever. It's exactly as you say. You go through the process and you're trying to sort of filter your own thoughts and your mental story and what you're trying to frame, and you're also learning from that person that you're giving that information to, and it's a beautiful thing. It's a very beautiful thing.
And so also, like, everyone will find a slightly different angle to look at things than you do. So it's like when you sort of bring them up to your level, it's like they can then give you something as well. Like even if you're teaching them to do something, they might make you think like, I hadn't considered that. That's a cool thing. Maybe I should look more into that. Like you pick things up from everywhere, and I don't think you need to be a major authority on something to talk about it. It's at least worth knowing when, like, this is not my area of expertise, take it with a grain of salt. But beyond that, it's like it's still good to get something from everywhere about it. Like as far as I've talked on the Armorcast channel about like how look, I'm not a military veteran. I am not a defense analyst. Technically, I could call myself a defense analyst. It's actually not a legally protected term, at least not in most countries. But I don't want to mislead people. Like, I am an enthusiast who's done a bit of research and is putting it forward to you guys. Take it with a grain of salt. But that doesn't mean that, like, I shouldn't talk about that, because there is still a lot to say about it. There's room for everyone to have their say, I think.
Yeah.
Is the easiest way of putting that out. Like, you don't have to be the authority on something to talk about it with any level of confidence. And like, I'm sure you would say as well with War Thunder back in the day, like there were plenty of people who were better, but like maybe they aren't making YouTube videos. Yeah. So like there's room. It's good to have as many people putting that out as possible, and eventually the bad ones will get weeded out anyway. So exactly. What's the difference?